Good morning, grade 7 students. In this session, we're going to continue with the nutritive needs of the green plants. What do the green plants need in order to grow well, in order to grow normally, in order to have normal growth? And this is for the week 27. So first, we identified the four needs of the green plants. We said that they need light, they need CO2, carbon dioxide, they need water, and also they need mineral salts. So first, we discovered that the green plant, they are the plants, they contain the green chlorophyll. So they are called the chlorophyllic plants because they contain the chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is the green pigment that gives the green plant their color. So this is the chlorophyll. So it's a pigment in the green plants that absorbs the sunlight. This is called the chlorophyll. So in this experiment, we identified the importance of water for the growth of the green plants. We have two mediums. One of them contains water and the other it lacks water, meaning that it does not contain water. This is the meaning of the word lacks. So here the variable factor is the water, and also we draw the table of condition and we finish everything related to the exercises about the variable factor, about the comparing the aspect, meaning that comparing the appearance of the plants where they are watered and they are lacking water, and then we draw out the conclusion that the green plant they need water in order to grow well. Second experiment, we talk about the green plants and mineral salts. These two experiments already we covered them in the previous session. So here the objective or the aim or the purpose of this experiment is to study the importance of mineral salts for the growth of green plants. So we have two plants. Plant A was placed in distilled water. What does the distilled water mean? Distilled water means we have no mineral salts in the water. While the other one in B, we have the mineral water, meaning that it contains minerals. So the variable factor between these two experiments is the mineral salt. And also we draw the table of conditions, show using a pencil and a ruler, give it a legend and a title as well. And we draw out a conclusion that the green plant, they need mineral salts to grow fast. These two experiments already, we covered them last week. Then this week we're going to continue with the two other nutritive needs for the growth of green plants. And here we start. In this experiment, we are talking about the green plants and light. What is the objective of this experiment? The objective of this experiment is to study the importance of light for the growth of green plants. So this is the objective or the aim or the purpose of this experiment. So in this experiment, we want to study the importance of light for the growth of green plants. So here, if I ask you, yeah, let's see, Lin Shivani, what is the posed problem? Yes, Lin, what is the posed problem?
Yes, it is. Um,
Pose the problem, first of all, it should be in the form of what?
of question.
Very good. So what is the pose the
What
problem?
is the importance of light for the growth of green plants?
Very good, Lean. So what is, so always the pose the problem should be in the form of question. So what is the importance of light for the growth of green plants? Very good. Thank you, Lean. So what is the importance of light for the growth of green plants? Okay. So you have to continue for the growth of green plant and then you put the question mark. Okay, so this is the pose the problem. So pose the problem always should be in the form of question, and this pose the problem is similar to the aim, but it should be in the form of question. Yes, Zahra, do you have a question or you want to answer? Zahra, they are raising your hand. Do you have a question?
No, I just want to answer.
Okay, yalla, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for the next questions. So here, in this experiment, we have two plants. we have plant 1 and we have here plant 2. Two plants, they are placed under different conditions. Let's see these conditions. First, in plant 1, we have darkness. Darkness means we have no light, while in the other plant, we have normal light. So here we have lights. So here in the plant one was placed inside a black box. We have a black box that is covering the plant. These are wheat plants. Also here we have wheat plants. Also these we have water. And here also we have water, as well as we have here CO2, and the second plant we have CO2. But what is the difference? So who can tell me what is the variable factor in this experiment? What is the variable factor? Yes, Laris. What is the variable factor?
Light.
The light. So here we have light, and in the plant, here we have no light, sorry, plant 1, and plant 2 we have light. So what do you think? Compare the aspects of the two plants. Yes, Zahra. Compare the aspect, meaning that you have compared the shape of the two plants in 1 and 2. What do you think, Zahra?
Um,
Yes, Zahra. What do you think? Okay, let's move to other than the Zahra. I think she had a problem. Let's move to. Yes, Huda, what do you think? Can you compare the aspects of the two plants, 1 and 2?
Yes.
Yes,
Plant one that is grown in the darkness is yellow
very
and
good, very good,
strawberry.
very
No?
good.
Uh,
Sorry, Huda. Sorry, Huda. So Huda mentioned the variable factor here, so it's very good. So Huda said plant 1 that is grown in darkness. Very good. Continue, Huda, please.
while a plant two that is grown in the presence of light is
Yes.
green and well developed.
Developed. Very good. So Huda said that plant 1 that is grown in darkness, it is yellow, or they are yellow, and they are not well developed. They are not developed well. While plant 2 that is grown, or that are grown in presence of sunlight, they are green and they are well developed. So if you wanted to do the analysis, who can do the analysis? Yes, Razan, can you do the analysis for this experiment? Can you analyze?
yes.
Okay, yes, start.
In the absence of light, plant
Yes,
one becomes yellow and is not well developed.
very good.
Yet in the presence of light,
Yes,
plant two grows green and is well developed.
well developed. Thank you, Razan. So here, who can give me the conclusion? Yes, Hassan Ijradi, what is the conclusion here? What can you conclude here? Hassan Ijradi, what
Yes,
can you conclude?
that green plant need light to grow up.
Excellent. So the green plant, they need light to grow well and to grow green. That's why in the darkness, they are yellow and they are not well developed and they will die at the end. While in the presence of light, they grow well and they grow green and they are well developed. So this is the importance of light. So light is important for the growth of the green plants. In the presence of light, they grow normally. In the absence of light, they don't grow normally and they are not well developed. So here you have to draw the table of condition. Complete the following table of condition. Sure, whenever you have this, you have to copy it on your copybook and then you have to complete it. And you don't complete it on the question sheet itself. So here we use the legend. Plus means presence and minus means absence. All of them, they have the normal conditions. Both of them, they have water. Both of them, they have CO2. Also, we can add minerals if you want here. And light, one of them contain light, which is plant 1 absence and plant 2 presence. So this is the table of condition and results. Okay, here you can add the CO2 and air, and you have to add the duration. You can add the duration if you want a day's table of condition and results. So here Let's move to the variable factor. We said that the variable factor is the light. Compare the aspect. So plant 1 that is grown in darkness is yellow and not well developed. However, plant 2 that is grown in the presence of the light, it is green and well developed. So this is the difference between these two plants. So plant 1 that's grown in the darkness, they are yellow. So they are yellow and they are not well developed and they will die at the end. However, plant 2 that's grown in the presence of light, they are green and they are well developed. Analyze the obtained experiment. So you can say in absence of light, plant 1 becomes yellow and not well developed, while in the presence of light, plant 2 grows green and it's well developed. Draw out a conclusion. Draw out a conclusion meaning that give a conclusion, not to draw. So draw out is the verb. So verb draw out a conclusion. Green plants they need sunlight or they need the light to grow well and to remain green in color. So till now we have three important nutritive needs for the growth of green plants. The first one is the water. Second, the mineral salts. The third is the light. Let's move now to the fourth experiment. Green plants and CO2. So green plants and carbon dioxide. Objective of this experiment is to study the importance of CO2 for the growth of green plants. Before we start, all of you know carbon dioxide is the CO2. But before I start, I want to ask a question. What do we call the test that is used to identify the presence of carbon dioxide? So what do we call this test that we use it to identify if we have CO2 or not? If you remember this, whenever we talk about this in the chapter of transpiration, what do we call the test that we use it to identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Yes, I want to see your hands. Let's say, Lee Khalifi, what do you think? Yes, Lee Khalifa. Good morning, Lee. She's not hearing me. Larissa, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Larissa, what do you think? What do we call the test that we use it to identify the presence of carbon dioxide? What do we call this test? Do you remember? What do we call the test that we use it to identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Yes. What do you think? Okay, so I think Larissa doesn't have an answer. So let's move now to Lishibani. Lishibani, do you have an answer?
Yes.
What do we call the test that we use it to identify the presence of carbon dioxide? Can you tell me?
Lemon juice.
It's related to lemon juice. It's like lemon juice called lime.
Lime water.
Lime water test. Very good. Lime water test. If we have carbon dioxide, the lime water, it becomes what? It becomes turbid or milky or cloudy. While if we don't have CO2, the lime water, it remains clear. So this is the test that we use it to identify the presence of carbon dioxide. So CO2 is tested by the help of this test, which is the lime water test. So now let's move to this experiment. In this experiment, we have two bean plants. Two new bean plants. They are similar, they are identical. They are placed in this glass jar and also they are exposed. So sunlight, they are watered, they have all the normal condition in plant A. After 15 days, the plant, it grows tall, it grows green, and it has normal growth. However, in plant B, We have all the normal conditions. But in addition to this, we have potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide, in the chemistry, it had the symbol of K capital, O capital, H capital. So potassium hydroxide has this symbol KOH. This is the potassium hydroxide. You have to study its function. Potassium hydroxide, it absorbs the carbon dioxide from the air. So here, potassium hydroxide, KOH, it absorbs the carbon dioxide from the air. This note, you have to study it because this note is not given in the question. You have to know that potassium hydroxide, while it's placed here, it absorbs all the CO2, meaning that there is no CO2 in plant B, while in plant A we have CO2. So here, if I ask you, what is the variable factor? What do you think? What is the variable factor in this experiment?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide is the variable factor. Very good. And it's not potassium hydroxide. So pay attention to this. This is not the variable factor here. The variable factor here is the CO2. Since we have CO2 here and potassium hydroxide, we use it to absorb the CO2 to get all the CO2. So here we don't have CO2. So here the variable factor is CO2, the carbon dioxide. So here, when we have carbon dioxide, the plant, it grows normally, it grows tall, it grows green. While in the absence of carbon dioxide, the plant, it withers, it wilts, and finally it will die in the absence, sorry, of carbon dioxide. So if I told you compare the aspects of the two plants. Yes, Fatima Battah, compare the aspects of the two plants A and B. And don't forget to mention the variable factor. Yes, Fatima,
Yes.
what is the comparison? Compare the aspect of the two plants A and B. Or the meaning of the aspects meaning that the appearance or their shape of the two plants A and B. Yes, Fatima, your answer is
And plant A,
yes.
there wasn't potassium hydroxide.
Pay attention, Fatima. Before you continue, what is the variable factor? What did you say the variable factor is? The variable factor is what?
CO2.
CO2. Very good. So you have to say plant A that's grown in the presence of CO2. Okay, this is the variable factor and not potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide is not the variable factor. Okay, Fatima?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, start. So plant A, yes, Fatima?
Yes.
Yes, I'm waiting your answer. Let's give it a chance for others. Hassan Saleh, good morning, Hassan.
Good morning.
Can you compare the aspects of the two plants A and B?
Yes.
Yes. Can you start, please?
A,
Yes.
we put soil, and after 15 days, it's be bigger and good.
Okay.
And
First, you have
B,
to mention, Ya Hassan, the variable factor. So we have to say plant A that is grown in the presence of CO2.
soil,
15 days later, it was what? It was green and well developed.
and B.
Okay, and well developed instead of using the word big. While in plan B, in the
But
absence CO2, so what
we put
happens? it becomes yellow and
Yep.
wilts, or it dies.
The
Okay, thank you, Hassan. Thank you. So here, this is the comparison. Comparing the aspect, you have to mention the variable factor. So this is the turbulent condition. We have water, we have light. From now on, whenever you hear the word fertilizer, so meaning that we are talking about minerals, because fertilizers, they are good source of minerals. From now on, whenever you hear the word fertilizer, meaning that we are talking about mineral salts. So you have to keep it in your mind. Whenever we talk about fertilizers, so here we are talking about mineral salts. So mineral salts, here we are talking about the fertilizers. Okay? So here, water, light, fertilizers, CO2
Yes.
in air, and the results. Yes? Anyone want to ask a question?
No.
Okay,
Miss me,
so
excuse me.
water, light, fertilizers, CO2 and air, and we have finally the results. So here we have both of them, they have water, both of them they have light, both of them they have minerals, but here the variable factor is the CO2, where we have in A we have CO2 while in B the CO2 was absent. The result that the green plant they grow normally in plant A while the green plant in B they wither and finally they die. What the meaning of wither means that they wilt يعني بيدبلوا. They wither and finally they die. And this is the title of the table of conditions and results. Don't forget to write the title of the table and don't forget to write the legend. Plus means presence and minus means absent. These are very important for the table, the legend and the title. Without them, you can get the full mark for the table. Okay, so here let's move to the indicating the variable factor in this experiment. The variable factor in this experiment, it's what? It's the carbon dioxide, why it's present in plant A and it's absent in plant B. So this is the variable factor, the carbon dioxide, or it's called the CO2. And pay attention, in this experiment, it's not the potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide, KOH, it absorbs the carbon dioxide in plant B, but it's not the variable factor. So the variable factor is the carbon dioxide, CO2. So plant A, comparing the aspect, plant A that's grown in carbon dioxide. So here I said the variable factor that's grown in the presence of carbon dioxide. It's tall and green. While plant B that's grown in the absence of carbon dioxide. So plant B in the absence of carbon dioxide. Also here I talk about the variable factor. It weathers and becomes yellowish and finally it will die. So here comparing, you have to mention the variable factor. You have to say we have CO2 or we don't have CO2. We have light or we don't have light. So this is the comparison. So comparing the aspects, meaning that either we have CO2 or we don't have CO2. So comparing the aspects of the plant, plant A that's grown in the presence of carbon dioxide. So this is the variable factor. In the presence of carbon dioxide, it's tall and green, while plant B that is grown in the absence of carbon dioxide, no carbon dioxide, withers and becomes yellowish. Moving to the analysis. Analyze the experiment or the obtained results. In the presence of carbon dioxide, plant A becomes tall and green, while in the absence of carbon dioxide, it withers and dies, which is plant B. So, conclusion, the green plants, what do they need? They need carbon dioxide to grow well. So they need carbon dioxide to grow green and to be well developed and to become green in color and to become tall. This is the importance of carbon dioxide in this experiment. So till now, can we conclude? We have a big conclusion here. We can conclude that The green plants, they need four important elements or needs. They need number one, water. Without water, they can't grow. Number two, they need mineral salts. Without mineral salts, they can't grow well. Number three, they need carbon dioxide, CO2. And number four, they need light to grow well. So these are the four important nutritive needs for the growth of the green plants till now. So they need water, they need mineral salts, which we call them. We have another word whenever you use it, which is fertilizer. So whenever I mention the word fertilizer, meaning that I'm talking about mineral salts, fertilizers, and then we have the carbon dioxide, the CO2, carbon dioxide, and finally we have light in order to grow well. So green plant, they need four important nutritive elements. They need water, repeat, they need mineral salts, which is in the form of fertilizers. We need three, carbon dioxide, and number four, we need light for the green plant to grow well and to grow tall and to grow green. This is about the nutritive need for the growth of green plants.